welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow. You're watching this very special series that we call Eye on Dubai, focusing on the most innovative businesses out of the Dubai UAE market. On tonight's show, we're bringing you a panel discussion talking about the startup ecosystem and what makes the Dubai UAE market a great place and the opportunities that are being provided there for today's startups. Let me dive right in there and introduce our panelists today. Mahwussh Alam, founder, One Perfect Stay. Faisal Memon, founder CEO, IOL Pay. Mark Abraham, founder CEO, Shackle. Pulkit Ganjoo, founder director, Invygo. Sundeep Sahni, founder CEO, Valeo. Thank you for joining us here on this panel, really talking about the opportunities for entrepreneurs like yourself and your advice for anyone who's watching today's panel to say this is why the Dubai UAE market is a great place to do business, and to give them examples of what has perhaps worked for you and insights from your own personal experience and journey. I'd like to start perhaps with Mahwussh. I'll start with the lady on the panel. Tell me a little bit about your journey, your history, very briefly in one or two lines. What was that experience of starting out like for you?
My entrepreneurial journey has been coincidental, and before this, I was working for a tech firm for at least 6 years, and the 9-to-5 regime was something that was beyond my calling. I was someone with a lot of energy and a lot of drive. So I had to be involved in something which was a bit more personal, and on a much larger scale, it had to be something which could address a real pain point. So that's how I became an entrepreneur, and that even with alternate accommodation and hospitality sector. I formed my first company, One Perfect Stay, in 2016. And the second company came into being last year, which is One Perfect Space, which is to do with interiors and design. So it has been an extremely fulfilling, challenging, and a roller coaster ride, but I would not trade it for anything else. It has been extremely rewarding.
Sure.
For all the ups and downs that I've been through with my team on this.
Pulkit, what would you want for our viewers to know about Invygo, and what that experience really perhaps was like for you to set it up?
Sure. In terms of specifically being in Dubai, so my co-founder and I, we're both from Dubai. So we grew up here, we had our schooling here, which means we have a great network of people that we worked with in the past. Be it suppliers, we have access to more than 40,000 vehicles. We've been able to manage funds with 4.5 million raised till date. Hiring talent becomes slightly easier, but if there was one takeaway that I think Dubai gives you more than any other place is the ease of starting up. We were part of the In5 Accelerator program, which is backed by the TCOM, which is kind of a government entity. And for us, the whole process was super streamlined, very fast, cost effective for the first 2 and 3 years, which is very important because there's so many things that you have to work on, so many problems that you have to solve. So the last headache that you want is, the setup of the legal entity and so on, and, getting your first office space. So that was really easy for us, having started up in Dubai.
Sundeep, health tech is hot right now across the world, not just in Dubai UAE market or in India, but, starting out for you, what was that like? What do you want to tell our viewers?
Health tech definitely is up and coming, especially in this part of the world. I think COVID has made everybody realize that health is important, and a holistic approach to health is important. But starting up in UAE, I completely agree with Pulkit. It was extremely easy. The government here has made it, very forthcoming. Everything, all the processes are online. I think the hardest thing was opening a bank account because the banks are still very traditional, but But everything else after that has been online and very, very quick. I'm actually amazed how forthcoming the governmental departments are for helping startups. They open doors. They run cohorts, and they make sure that we have everything we need. If something about tech, most of tech is unregulated, and the government here is very quick to respond to make you feel comfortable and come up with regulation. I actually work with you to come up with regulations to ensure that they are an enabler and not a hindrance. So that's very good. The other thing is, I think for the region, Dubai is probably the best hub in terms of attracting talent, in terms of attracting investor money. So all our investors are literally in a 10-minute driving, basically 10 minutes away. Okay. So it was very quick to go meet them and close the rounds. Yeah.
Mark, I would love for you to talk about Shackle. What was your journey like? What do you want our viewers to really know about the business?
Yeah, listen, thanks so much. We're actually headquartered in the United Kingdom, and our tech company is based out of Amsterdam. So our engineering and product team are in Amsterdam. So we're a travel tech business. So obviously Booking.com, Secret Escapes, Trip Actions, kind of big unicorns are based in Amsterdam. So there's a really good cohort of talent over there. The reason we actually came to Dubai is we did a partnership with Dubai Tourism. Over here, it's a legal requirement for hotels to send the passport of guests to the CID after they check in. And what we're trying to provide is a mobile-first experience for hotel guests. So you probably experienced the pain of arriving at your hotel off a long flight, handing over your passport, handing over your credit card, signing the piece of paper, waiting for 10, 15, 20 minutes to get into your room, and eventually get your key card. So we provide a mobile-first platform that allows you to automate your guest journey from your own phone. So you can pre-check in, you can pre-authorize your payment, you can open up your room door using your phone, order room service, check out, pay your bill. So that's why we came to Dubai. Again, if you look around Dubai, it's just hotels everywhere. So it's a pretty great region for us to be in.
Faisal, you are in a similar industry, as compared to Mark. Just run us through your experience of setting up your business and starting out.
I've been here now. I've been an entrepreneur all my life. And I think we've been in Dubai now for almost 20 years. So we started off right at the boom when, the Dubai Internet City came along. It was, I was based in the UK as well. And it really provided us the foundation of actually setting up we're a travel tech company as well, but actually setting up a headquarters out of Dubai, right? That basically really set the story, the tone in terms of how we've expanded over the years globally. So we've got a global clientele. We work with several partners in the ecosystem. We've got over 23,000 hotels that we've covered in our marketplace. I think, look, I'm born in Dubai. So, I guess I'm one of those made in Dubai stories. Lived in India, so obviously there's the Indian angle as well.
I want to talk about Valeo and what's happening in India, and I would love to get a perspective as to what's happening in the Dubai UAE market. Is that since you've been talking about the pandemic has had a huge impact on the healthcare space, particularly health tech, with more and more entrepreneurs innovating as far as health tech is concerned and the kind of solutions that they're offering. What's it like? In Dubai, UAE, are you seeing more and more entrepreneurs who are entering the space? And then how do you perhaps ensure that you are standing out in that sense, from the competition, from the clutter?
Definitely, Sunana. So I think you're absolutely right. Health tech has been getting a lot of attention, not only in the news, but also from entrepreneurs. Customers are demanding better experience. A lot has shifted to at home. Nobody wants to go to the hospitals anymore and wait for a doctor for 1 hour or 2 hours. That's something that people did last decade. Today, people want to avoid hospitals. But overall, health is becoming more important. Last year during COVID, it was one of the fastest growing categories. Health, basically fitness goods, being shopped online, faster than groceries, and so on. So we have that. Of course, entrepreneurs are entering. We are seeing a lot of competition coming in, which I think is a good sign. It creates awareness in the market. It creates, people. We're not the only ones who have to spend on marketing. Everyone else is also doing it, so that's good for us. In terms of how we stand, or stand apart from the crowd. So this is my third startup now, and previous two were basically market leaders in e-commerce and ride-hailing. In different parts of the world, and we always won the market. So that's something that I'm very excited about for health tech as well. For us, it's the customer first. Hospitals talk about doctors. They still don't talk about technology, by the way. They put the doctor first. We are putting the customer first, the user first, and seeing what are they looking for, what are they demanding, and how can we improve their experience, be it at home, be it more control of their data. Be it better access and to their own data. People talk about medical records for I think 20 years now, but especially in this part of the world, to get your medical records, you have to physically go to a hospital and sign a document. That also after going through a lot of hurdles. Whereas we're basically giving people access to their data in a very visualized, analytical manner that is good for them, and that they can understand very, very easily.
I have to take a quick break on that note. We're back in just a moment. Welcome back. You're with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow. And tonight, we are talking all things startup with our panel of experts. So I want to talk about the mobility ecosystem then, Pulkit. And I understand that your big vision is really transform the mobility ecosystem in the Dubai UAE market. Here in India, everyone is talking about, electric vehicles, electric cars, electric scooters. That's the big thing. Everyone is talking about the future of mobility. What's your vision? Talk to us about perhaps the kind of technologies you're using, how you're targeting this market, what that journey has been like.
Sure. So it's not just mobility, it's also financial inclusion in fintech. Okay. So cars are very asset heavy, of course. It's not very easy to own. It's very difficult to get into that kind of a commitment. So how subscription kind of solves for it is it makes it a much more inclusive process. It's very easy to get started. And then, of course, there's no massive opt-out penalties or any penalties for that matter. You're not tied down to that asset. Sure. So COVID actually really highlighted that value proposition a lot more to people when they realize that, why should I have an asset that's only depreciating over time, where I'm uncertain of the use of this asset, and I'm not even certain of my disposable income anymore. So that was step one. During the COVID phase, we realized that, okay, because people are driving lesser, we introduced more flexible mileage packages, right? Wherein people pay lesser for lesser usage of a car. We even gave to retain customers and to kind of drive value back. During the lockdown phase, it was actually free to have a car from our platform Invygo, right? With a certain mileage per day for emergency and whatnot. So we bounced back really fast from that kind of phase. And when we look at our business and the technology that we use, I believe we live in a time where the barriers to entry for any business are relatively low, especially if it's not a very highly regulated space, right? And anyone can kind of come in and provide a value and a service which is relatively competitive, right? It's not very easy to look at an app like an Uber and Ola and make the front end consumer side of it. I think where the challenge comes is building a technical and a data infrastructure that allows you to have a cost structure that essentially makes the experience better while making it more affordable.
Sure.
Over time, we've been able to utilize cars between 95 to 99% of the time. These utilization rates are completely unheard of in the market. At the same time, we're able to move cars between 2 and 5 days. So the idle time that a car spends on our platform is really low.
There's a question open for all five of you on today's panel. Since we are talking to an Indian audience as well, if for each of your specific industries, if you could talk about the Indian perspective, whether it's hiring of talent, whether it's, offering of solutions, does India as a market perhaps excite you? If you're looking perhaps at the talent that's coming out of India, how you may be doing that, any tips, any suggestions, what's your experience been like? Open to all of you. Maybe Sandeep, I could come to you first.
India, basically our tech team is based in India. So from a talent pool, it's definitely an excellent country to stay connected with. We also run our marketing data science team out of India. It's just the people in India have a lot more experience in terms of scaling, building, being able to handle a million transactions on a daily basis. So that's where we are. That's the things that we have kept in India, and it's worked really well for us. We've also been able to scale. So India is no longer about a cheap cost. I just want to clarify that. It's not that I have resources in India because they're cheaper. No, Indian tech team, I think someone jokes that they're more expensive than Silicon Valley currently. So, so that way India is great. And as a market, I definitely think India is a great market and something that we have to prepare ourselves for. GCC or the Middle East, I would say, is a market where you can focus on both, scale and profitability. India, of course, is all about scale, at least has been for the past decade. So it's good to have a profit center in Middle East and then expand to India.
And I think one of the big areas that we looking at from a fintech platform is how can the hotels of the world be ready for the evolving consumer, right? With the different payment methods and different cards and different wallets and crypto and all kinds of things that are basically being used for transactions, right? So, I mean, there's still, you cannot imagine how many hotels on the planet, right, would be ready to welcome Chinese travelers, but not have the ability of accepting WeChat Pay and Alipay, right? Same goes for India. I mean, India has really taken a big, huge step in digitization from the point of view of wallets and payment methods, right? So you have so many different ways that consumers basically are used to paying, right? With the mobile, with all the different kind of applications that they have and wallets that they have. But, what we see is the hotels of the world are not basically ready beyond just having a machine that just accepts, the Visa, MasterCard and Amex maybe, right? So for us, the Indian traveler is very important. I mean, we obviously see in India, every time the market opens up, the Indians are traveling in droves, right? Whether it is in Maldives or whether it is to Dubai, hopefully back in Asia Pacific, Europe and US very soon as well. And for us, that the Indian traveler is a very unique traveler, and the payment methods out of India, and to be honest, all over the world, right? The rise of BNPL and the rise of APMs and LPMs in our industry. Hotels have to be ready to actually speak the language when it comes to payments, right? And that's basically where we feel, India is quite dynamic and very interesting from our perspective as well.
Sure. We've run out of time on today's panel, so I do want to take closing comments. I know there's so much more to discuss, but unfortunately we have just the 20 minutes here on today's show. So let me quickly get closing comments and understand from each of you how you have managed to leverage technology and your advice for an entrepreneur who's watching today's interview about what you want them to know about perhaps either the biggest challenge that you've had, which you've converted to an opportunity, or the biggest opportunities which are available in a market like the Dubai UAE region. Mark, maybe I can come to you first.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Listen, we're a tech company, so everything we leverage is technology. I think if you look at any generation coming up, I was just talking to one of my colleagues earlier. His niece is 1.5 years old. She can't speak, but she can open an iPad and press play on a movie. So if you're not providing a mobile-first experience as a business, any business, I think you're going to be lost behind. We're pretty much cyborgs. People don't go to the kitchen, to the bathroom without bringing their phone with them in case they miss a notification. So I think that's, we're already there. So I think if technology isn't the core of your business nowadays, you're already well behind. Dubai is amazing, right? Like, I talk about the way of life and happiness. Like, look at the weather in Dubai. Just that alone, startups are difficult enough when you can. I'm from Ireland, so I'm very used to the rain. So when you look outside in Dubai, it's a beautiful place to be. I think it's multicultural. I think having different perspectives in your product, if you truly want to be a global business, like Faisal said about travel, I think having the multicultural perspectives in Dubai is amazing. You've got so many different cultures, so many different individuals. That's brilliant. And yeah, the government support over here is amazing. Like, we presented Dubai Tourism to make them a smart city with digital check-in, and I don't think there's many other governments in the world that would take a pitch from a startup and then actually implement it. So I think, you have to take your hats off, and we've obviously celebrated the 50th anniversary here this weekend, and just to see what Dubai did. I know Faisal's maybe a bit older, he's seen it from 20 years ago. Sorry, Faisal, but to see it over the last 50 years where it came from is just truly mind-blowing. And if that doesn't inspire you as an entrepreneur, I really don't think anything will.
Exactly.
Pulkit, maybe I can give you the chance to go next.
Sure. So from the advice standpoint, I think it's very simple and straightforward, as it has been from day one. You outwork everyone else around you, and you outsmart everyone else around you, and you never stop really proving yourself. And it's just a consistent battle of constantly improving on that. And in terms of the technology that we use AI and machine learning for forecasting, pricing, predicting residual values of the car, understanding depreciation a lot better, recommendation engine, our own insurance underwriting. So it's basically, at the end of it, how do we make a cost structure that can drive the value back to the end consumer and make cars more affordable over time and more financially inclusive. That's a bit of how we're using technology.
I just wanted to add the message for the aspiring entrepreneur: start now. We all plan and we all make some immaculate plans, but real story lies in the execution. So execute every single day and identify a pain point and build a relentless solution around it.
Sundeep?
Perfect.
I'll give you the last.
Thank you. Yeah, great. Thank you. Really appreciate that. Technology is extremely important. It's the core of our business. It's the biggest team we have in our company. I completely agree. Go mobile first, but also have machine learning on your data that you're gathering, so you can actually gather insights and keep innovating on your own business. And that's the fastest way to stay ahead of your competitors. Rather than copying them, you look at your own data. In health tech, we've been fortunate that we've been able to gather a lot of data, especially with the smartwatch coming in. Today, we call this the tip of the iceberg, and the smartwatch is capturing your movement data, your fitness data, but then what's inside your blood really is what's starting to matter, and that's where people are starting to do more, get more and more into testing, more and more into analytics of their biomarkers, and this is where Valeo comes in to make sure that people have a convenient way of ordering these tests from the convenience of their home. So that's where it all comes together for us. Thank you.
All right. Thank you to everyone who's here on tonight's panel. It's been great talking to all of you. There's just so much more to discuss, but that's all the time we could manage to pack into this episode. If you have any feedback for us, our contact details are on your screens as we speak. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.